this bad boy, and I've got some people that couldn't make it tonight. Okay. All right. So I wanted to talk tonight. I know that there's a couple of you that are not on Team Cup teams right now because Alice is new. Kathleen kind of came in. Kathleen, you did not get a Team Cup team, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So there's a couple of you that are not on Team Cup. So what I'm going to be talking about tonight is we're going to talk about like finishing strong this month. And I came up with this topic because, well, we are in the middle of a Team Cup. For those of you who don't know what a Team Cup is, it's something that happens twice a year. Right now, it's the Team Cup. In the fall, it'll be called the Fall Classic. Now, what that is it's a small team of coaches, anywhere between 3 to 5 coaches, and it's like a friendly little competition. And it's fun for kind of a push. It's usually in between when we have new releases, like we just had the Hammer and Chisel release. We're going to have hardcore release on March 1st, the new 20 Horton video. And so we do this just to kind of give everyone a little boost. But what I don't want you to do is take this information, go, yeah, February, awesome, and then forget it all for next month because we don't have a competition, right? Every month is a competition. Every month we are trying to make this the best month possible. But I don't want those of you who are not on the team to be like, oh, this doesn't apply to me. Oh, heck yes, it applies to you. This is every month, okay? All right. So let me get to my little fancy slideshow here. Okay, so let's start off and kind of give you a rundown about what we're going to talk about. Oh, hang on a second, guys. I forgot to share my screen. I could see it, but you guys couldn't. Okay, Renee, can I get a thumbs up? Can you see that? Yeah? Okay, awesome. Okay, I want to give you a little rundown about what we're going to talk about today. First, I want to do a rake advancement, celebrate some cool people on the team. I want to talk about what does it mean to finish strong? Is it realistic? Is it something that, is possible when we have so much other stuff going on in our life? And why do we want to finish strong? It might sound kind of a silly question, but why do we really? And then I have a couple of tips and principles to kind of help you dominate the next 5 days as a team. And like I said, even if you're not on a team, take these tips and principles and apply them to your business no matter where you are. Whether you're a brand new coach, you've been around for 2 years, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so first of all, let's give a huge congrats to Catherine Campbell, who just became Diamond Coach last Thursday or the Thursday before. I can't remember. Yeah, sorry, it's been almost 2 weeks. 2 weeks tomorrow. Hey, Lynn.
Hey.
But congratulations to Catherine. She's been working so hard. She literally, since she came in May of last year, April, May-ish, and ever since she has come on, she has been a rock star coach. There has been no slowing this woman down. And I'm so bummed she's not here tonight. I know Tommy's coming home from a very long international trip, and I don't blame her for spending time with him, but I'm so bummed she's not here tonight because she really, really is an amazing coach. She has always hit Success Club. It's been a non-negotiable in her business, which is an absolute must as you are building a business. And I just want to give a huge virtual hug and high five to her, and cannot wait to see you in a few months, Catherine, in Nashville. All right, so let's kind of go on to kind of this intro and what does it mean to finish strong. So we've got our final 5 days of the Team Cup, final 5 days of February. And I want to talk about finishing strong. I don't mean squeaking by, barely hitting your goals, crossing toes and fingers. I mean really, really finishing strong. We talk about hitting a goal, whether that's Success Club 5 or Success Club 10. But at the end of the month is really where that final stretch magic can happen. We kind of came up with a team motto this year for 2016, and that motto is all in. So all in means 100% in, not 1 foot in, 1 foot out. That means I'm here to make some noise, I'm here to make some waves, and I'm here to change not only my life, but the people that I come in contact with. And that's what all in means. And like I said, the Team Cup helps for you to have that final push this month, but don't let it stop there. Don't give it all you've got in 1 month and then kind of float in the next month. Because if you can give it your all this month, you can give it your all next month. It only shows what you're capable of. And this call, we're going to talk about some foundations and some principles that you can carry through every single month. So what does it mean to finish strong, and is it really realistic? I mean, we've got kids. There's several of you that have full-time jobs. We've got sports, we've got family, we've got, you name it. We all have lives. So is it realistic? And this is such an important thing to remember, is it absolutely is, because finishing strong is not a massive overhaul in your life. It's not like you have to do 8 to 12 hours a day of this business in order to super succeed your goals. What it really means is you do just a tiny little bit more each day, right? So what does that mean? You're a little more focused when you sit down. You don't have the distractions. You make sure that those distractions do not interrupt you. Maybe it's 3 more invites than normal. Maybe it's waking up 15 to 20 minutes earlier. Maybe it's staying up 15 to 20 minutes later. Maybe it's 5 more pages of your personal development book, or 10 more minutes on a personal development YouTube video. Getting 3 more friends that day, 3 more conversations. It's not like you have to sit there and shoot out 50 invites every single day. It means whatever your standard is, right? Whatever our standard is, do a little bit more. Because for those of you who've read The Compound Effect, it's the small things compounded over time that add up to huge things. So if you take the next 5 days and say you're sitting down to do your power of 3s, well, I'm going to invite 3, I'm going to make 3 new friends, double that, triple that, whatever that may be. But it's just a tiny bit more, right? Because that is realistic. Do you have 15 more minutes in the morning? Probably. Do you have 15 minutes maybe on a lunch break? Probably. 15 extra minutes at the end of the day? Probably. You don't have to sit down for an hour. It's the tiny, tiny little things that we do that make the biggest difference. And I heard this statistic the other day, and I'm not a big football fan, so I may, flub this up a little bit, but the statistic was in most NFL games, most points are scored in the last 2 minutes of the game, out of the entire game. I thought that was kind of nuts, because that's the final stretch. That's the final push, right? You have a team that's 10 against 20, and that team that has 10 realizes, crap, we have 2 minutes left. We got to give it a final push. And that's when the most points are earned. I thought that was really interesting. But I want you to think of this as kind of like a muscle. I mean, here we are, we're fitness coaches. We work on ourselves. We know what that means. And that means that if you think of yourself giving that final push, it's like that stress over time. So when you're working out, do you do the 10 reps and that's it for 6 months? Probably not. It's like rep 11, 12, 13, and 14 that actually count, right? It's that extra 1, 2, 3 extra invites that you do that actually count. It's when you get pushed outside your comfort zone, and that kind of creates that pain, right? That extra 15 minutes earlier, that extra 15 minutes at the later in the day, those extra conversations. It's in our workouts and in our business, because we can't do the same thing every single month and expect there to be growth. And sometimes there's pain that comes along with growth. Just like with our muscles, it hurts to do that extra couple of reps, right? Yeah, it hurts. You're literally tearing the muscle, breaking it down, and building it back up. You take that same concept in your business, it seems to make a lot of sense, right? If you get comfortable inviting 3 people a day, then you're going to stay flatline, right? But if you give it that final extra push this month and you do those extra invites, you're going to see that little bit more of a change. So I kind of see that in order to have growth, there is going to be a little bit of that pain. And I think the pain is different for all of us, whether the pain of the fear of inviting, or the pain of putting yourself out there to the world on social media, the pain of sharing your joys and your losses and your struggles and all the things that we face that are private. To put those out there is hard, and it's painful sometimes. But what happens when we do that is that it allows us to connect with other people when we share the real, authentic self. And there is pain in that. And there's also sometimes the pain of discovering something about yourself throughout personal development. I know for me, the more personal development I do, the more, it may sound silly, but I actually develop. And sometimes in those development stages, it's hard because you realize, hey, I'm not as good at this as I thought I was, or I really need to work on this. And that means I have to put extra time into learning it. So sometimes there is pain in the personal development that forces you to focus on that self-improvement. There's also the pain of discipline, right? And that can be painful. If you go from a kind of wing it kind of structure throughout your day to, crap, I got to be more structured when I do this. You know, if I'm going to be running a business, if I'm going to be having a serious income generating business, I have to be more disciplined. And that's not always easy for every personality. So there's the pain of, discipline. There's this quote that kind of cracks me up. It's pain is weakness leaving the body. And that always makes me laugh because when I went into my recruiter's office before I joined the Marine Corps, I was given that shirt. And I didn't understand the concept of that. I knew that I was going to get my behind kicked like crazy, but I didn't quite understand that. And now I see it in a different light when it comes to even my business. Because every time we take that step forward and we do something that might be considered painful or out of our comfort zone, that's the weakness leaving in us. That's us gaining strength and confidence in our business, right? Okay, I want to kind of tell you a story here and see if you can follow along with me. So about 2 years ago, about, I guess, a year and a half ago, I actually went on a weekend trip and Lindsay was there. Lindsay and I and a couple other friends decided to climb Mount St. Helens. And I just kind of jumped in. It was Lindsay's idea. And I was like, absolutely, sounds good. Let's do it. And I started thinking about that trip up the mountain. Now, come with me here. And what it kind of showed me was that not everyone's going to literally climb a mountain, right? It's hard sometimes. And this trip, we had to go out of town for it. Obviously, Mount St. Helens is about an hour and a half from here. And it took us like 8 or 9 hours round trip. I had no idea what to expect, but I was up for the challenge. We had to pack for the day. We had to pack food for the day. We had to pack water. We had to go through different phases of a mountain. We had to go through the woods. We had to go over giant boulders. We had to go over small gravel. And then we had to walk up ash. And the thing is not everyone's going to do that. Not everyone's going to walk up that mountain. And this is kind of where I see this, how this fits into our business here is that as you start to walk up this mountain, there are people at the base of the mountain that are going to choose to not walk up that mountain, right? Because it's comfortable down there, because it's easier down there. But as you start to go up this mountain, and as you start to go through these obstacles of, getting over logs and getting over boulders, you get higher and higher. And the air gets a little bit thinner as you go up. And it's a little bit harder to breathe. It's more challenging as you start to climb. And I kind of see that in the way of our business too. The more you build your business and the more success you bring to your life, the fewer people there are. I mean, that's really why there's so few top coaches, right? We have the top 10 coaches. That's out of 400,000 coaches, there's 10 that have climbed that mountain. And because, I think about this mountain trip, and the thing is it wasn't complicated to climb this mountain. All I had to do was put one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, and just continue to walk. It's the same concept with our business. This is not a complicated business. You have to just do the daily things that are going to get you up there. I hope that makes sense. But it really, once you get to the top, and as you get higher and higher, it's physically and mentally separating you from all those people that are going to choose to not do what you're doing, right? So as Lindsay and I got higher and higher on that mountain, we were physically and mentally separating ourselves from all the people that said, I can't do it, it's too hard. I won't make it, it's too hard. And all we had to do was take step after step after step until we got to the top, right? It took time. There was no secret path around the side of the mountain. There was no escalator. There was no elevator. You just had to do the work. So I see that in the same with our business, because there's a lot of people that say, I'm not capable, or I can't do this, or I don't know how. And sometimes it simply is putting one foot in front of the other. That's it. Okay. And there was my story for the mountain story, and I forgot to show you guys. So that's actually the top of the mountain. Okay, so why do we want to finish strong? What does that say about us? What does that say if we get to the end of this month and we super succeed our goal? I mean, have you guys ever done something like that where you accomplished something that you never ever thought possible? You know that feeling, right? You're like on cloud nine, like, I did it. I did it. And it's that feeling, it's that victory feeling that we want to push for. Because every time we get that victory and that feeling, we get that extra layer of confidence, right? And the more we share those amazing successes and those things that you never thought possible, it inspires other people to do that. And that's part of our job, is sharing our journey. It's like when someone has 50 pounds to lose and they actually do it. We have a coach in our team that has lost, I want to say probably 40 to 50 pounds now. And she never thought that was possible. And she shows her picture now and she's like, I can't believe I did that. And people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that. That just takes her up one more level. And it means pride. It means confidence in yourself to achieve absolutely anything you put your mind to. In other ways, it might mean for you more income to be able to travel more, income to tell your current boss where to stick it. It might mean that you can dig yourself out of debt. Maybe it means you can finally buy a home, or you can, send your kids to college, whatever that may be. But that's what you're working towards every time you make those accomplishments. And for me, personally, it means that I can live my life the exact way I want it and not feel like I'm stuck with a life, right? And for me, I'll tell you, that's priceless. I will face any fear I need to in this business so I can have that life. So let's talk about a couple of tips and principles. And I'm not going to make this call super long because I know we've got some people that are 2 to 3 hours out. So we're going to go through these and then I'll let you guys go. But let's talk about our tips and principles to dominate the rest of the month. And the first one is be prepared. I know that sounds kind of vague, but I'm talking about, blocking your time. If you have a full-time job and you have a couple of kids or you're in school or whatever your priorities might be, block that time. Literally pull up a calendar, write it down. 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., work my business, whatever that may be. Find the time. And I find it helps too to block my time with everything else. So that's whether blocking time with your family, that's blocking time, maybe you have another job, blocking time to work your Beachbody business, blocking time when you do your workouts. So then there's a no-fail plan right in front of you because you know where you can fit in the time. Because a lot of us feel like, the minutes get away from us, right? Well, I don't have time. When if we really schedule out our day, we do have those magic secret moments in there. And for me, I stay home. This is what I do full time. But when I was a real estate agent, I had to find those secret moments. And sometimes that was waiting to pick up my kids. Back then it was in preschool, or maybe it was waiting in line at the grocery store. Maybe at a really long red light, I'd shoot out a couple of invites. I mean, there's those secret moments here. But if you're just prepared, you're going to be able to conquer this a lot more. And, communicate if you've got a spouse. Communicate with your spouse what you need. This is part of being prepared. So say, hey, babe, I've got to work from 6 to 6:30 tonight, or I've got to work from 8 to 9 tonight, whatever. These are my goals. This is what I've got to do. That way there's no lack of support there, and everyone knows what to expect. Have time to plan. Now, I think this is something that a lot of us don't sit down and do. Have time to actually plan this. Plan what your goals are, right? Plan your action plan. You need to reach a certain number of Success Club points, or you want to recruit so many coaches onto your team, or you want to have so many people in a challenge group. Okay, reverse engineer that. What does that mean? Set aside 15, 20 minutes to actually understand what that means. Turn off notifications. For me, this is part of being prepared. You sit down, turn off those notifications. This is what I do when I get ready for these calls. When I prepare these calls, I have to silence my phone. I have to turn Facebook off. I have to just focus. If not, I am going to be answering message and text messages the entire time, and I lose my focus. So turn off notifications. If you're sitting down to do your power threes or inviting, have your scripts ready, right? Have an objection script. So if you're talking to someone and someone comes to you with something, boom, you've got a script right next to you that you can find all this in the team page that says, if this person says this, here's a couple examples. You can shoot it right back rather than going, I don't know what to say, and then messaging your upline or messaging another coach and wasting time. Have all your scripts ready. Have your contact list and your power of threes printed, ready to go. You can avoid a lot of setbacks if you just prepare ahead of time. And don't waste your time on newsfeed scroll. I've been guilty of this as well, but this is why you turn Facebook off, you turn your phone off, and you just dedicate that time to your business. All right, number 2, utilize the tools that are available to you. Again, scripts. In the team page, we've got objections, we've got inviting scripts, we've got how to invite to coaching. You've got all the tools possible at your fingertips. You can look at YouTube videos. You can look at my own personal YouTube channel that has a ton of videos on different topics. You can go into the training guide in your Coach Online office. You can look in our team page. You can look at past team calls. There are so many resources available to you. Utilize them. If you don't know how to do something, go figure it out, right? The tools are endless. The organization tools, I touched on this. Power of threes. This is my daily thing. The power of threes is my guide. I love structure. I'm very type A. If I sit down and I'm like, I'm just going to work and I don't have a power of threes in front of me, I get distracted very easily and I don't want to. I have a lot of things to do. I've got a house to take care of. I have the business to run and I want to get things done as quick as I can. And so if you've got your power of threes, you know what you have to do every single day. And then having your contact list. So when you go to invite people, you know exactly who you want to invite. So you don't have to scroll through Facebook. Another tool that's available to you, your upline coach, your team, right? So don't necessarily shoot out questions that you can find out on your own necessarily and make other people look for the answers for you. But if you're one of my personally sponsored coaches and you really are kind of struggling with a situation and you're not sure how to get through it, I'm available. And whoever else is your upline coaches are tools as well, as long as it's a question that can really be something you can talk about, not where do I find this, because you can probably Google that, right? But so many tools available to you. All right, number 3, don't look over your shoulder. And what I mean by this is I feel like we get going, we get charged up, we're going towards our goal. And sometimes it's easy to get burnt out, right? And when we get burnt out, sometimes we kind of look over our shoulder, see what everyone else is up to. Maybe you end up going to other coaches' pages. You kind of get lost in what they're doing. And sometimes what happens is you get lost in the game of comparison. And that's going to suck it right out of you. You got to put the blinders on. You can't look over your shoulder and see what everyone else is doing. You got to put those blinders on. Don't pay attention to what the other coaches are doing. Don't think, oh my gosh, well, I can't be Melanie Mitro or Lindy Natway. And it clouds your focus. It blocks your momentum. And you need 100% focus on what you're doing. Your contact list, your people, you're inviting, right? It's once you look over the shoulder that it starts to slow you down. Number 4, know your goal and know your number 1 skill you need to get there. Your number 1 goal is to recruit more coaches on your team. Think about what skills does a top recruiter have? When we listen to the National Wake Up Call, they always tell us who the top recruiters are. So if you're looking to find more information on what a top recruiter looks like, head over there and peek real quick. And this is separate from looking over your shoulder here. I'm talking about just learning something new. But what does a top recruiter do? What kind of skills do they have? What kind of posts do they do? What kind of things are they posting? Are they being proof of the product? Are they doing call to action posts? If so, are they having, what kind of pictures are they doing? Are they blurry? Probably not. How can you improve on that? So whatever your goal is, figure out the number 1 skill you need to either improve on or learn and go with that, right? So, kind of on that note, I heard a quote that it really kind of drove this whole thing home, and it's from Jim Rohn. It says, "You cannot achieve what you haven't before if you are the same as you've always been." So what that means is that you have to become something that you have not yet, and you have to grow into those goals. So touching on number 4 here, you have to grow into those goals and become and learn how to have those skills in order to become that person in order to reach those goals. Okay. All right. So lastly, and we'll finish up here at exactly 7, man, record time. It's not how you start. Everyone can start. Every person can start a project, start a business, start a meal plan, start a fitness program, but not everyone finishes, right? It's how you finish. It's if you finish. That is actually the golden nugget right there. Anyone can start anything, but are you going to finish it? Okay? All right, you guys. Let me go ahead and get out of here so I can see your faces. Oh, there's way more people. Hi, Jen. All right. Do you guys have any questions or anything you want to chat about? I mean, this is not just me to talk my face off, How are you guys feeling about the month? You guys can all take it off mute now. How's the month going? How do you feel about the last 5 days?
I feel pretty good about the last 5 days. I feel like I've made some decent progress. Like I said earlier, I feel like my just interaction with the people I've been trying to connect with has gotten a lot deeper. I just really honestly slowed it down in a sense. It's taken me like a year to not be like, oh, you're interested? Here's my website. I mean, I clearly didn't go that fast, but, having those days and those conversations and being like, I am trying to help somebody into taking a huge step in their life. And maybe it isn't going to just be a one-time conversation. It might be 50 conversations. And
yeah,
that's fine. And like you said, making those connections slowly in other conversations, now people are actually coming to me like, okay, what are you doing? So, that's a pretty massive turnaround for me.
What do you think has changed now that people are starting to come to you and your momentum is building? What have you been doing differently?
I've been being more consistent. I have been sitting down and, like you said, being a little bit more prepared. I make sure, using my BAP, and then I'm sitting down and having that list. The first thing in the morning, I make my list of who I'm going to connect with, any of my follow-ups, and I make my goal of how many people I want to become friends with, and then I actually write the names down of those people, whether or not they have accepted or not, and then I can go back really easily and check once they do, and then it's just, a lot better follow-up and a lot better just sort of getting that stuff planned out. Because then when I sit down for the hour, I can just crank that stuff out. Yeah. And it doesn't take me all day, and I don't have that like overwhelmed, and then as soon as I get it done, then you get that like, wow, you just did so good. And then sometimes you're like, yeah, well, I bet I could sneak in a couple more. So that's that, instead of being like, well, maybe I could just get the bare minimum done today, I'm like, maybe I could sneak in a couple more. And so that's clearly a different mentality.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Yeah. It's the organization. The organization helps so much, right? And that's what I love about the Power Threes is I can go back to like 2 weeks ago and be like, who have I not spoken to or who haven't I followed up with? Oh, there we go. It's all right there. It's all written down.
Yeah, no, because it kills me when I look back and a message that's 3 weeks old and I'm like, oh, we were having a really great conversation. Then I don't know where, like maybe they didn't reply to one comment. So I could have carried on the conversation myself, but just didn't, or God forbid they did comment and I didn't reply back. Like that's bad. So, yeah.
Well, good. That's great. I'm excited to see how this month ends for you.
Me too.
Pointon, you're on my team.
I know. I'm lunch date tomorrow, and yes, I'm very excited.
Awesome.
I've been working on this lady for a while, and now she's went from not interested to like, I don't want to lose 30 to 50 pounds. So she has completely like flipped her mentality too. So,
well, you've also been doing a lot of proof of the product. That's huge. There's a reason why that's part of our vital behaviors. Because if you hadn't been following, you haven't been the proof of the product, but you've just been talking about it, people would be like, it obviously doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you're showing before and afters. You're showing, you're talking, you're
Yeah,
sharing.
I'm like, hey, and it's a
Bottom line,
year
you're
later and I haven't gained it all back like last time or all the other times I've ever lost weight.
Yeah, that's great, Sarah. All right, anyone else? How's the month going? Any challenges that you're facing or anything you kind of want to touch on or anything you want to celebrate? Alicia, how are you doing this month?
I'm trying to be more consistent. I kind of stepped away for a while due to like last semester in school and stuff, but this semester I'm trying to get back into the rhythm of things and being more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do you feel like you have some organization?
Yeah, I've been working on organization. I've been working on more personal development to try to get myself more confident to start making more posts and, get myself back out there.
And what kind of brought you back into this? Because I did notice that I haven't seen a lot of activity or anything. So what brought it back?
Well, last semester I was really overwhelmed with my classes and I just I didn't organize my time to sit down and actually work on the business. So I kind of just let it slide. This time I've noticed, I'm starting to plan more. I'm starting to just like block out time, like you were saying earlier, and just kind of starting to share my story again, and just because I kind of let it just go on the back burner, but I have more time this semester, so I feel like I feel more clear.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm working on getting consistent in that route.
Okay. All right. Is there anyone else that wants to say anything? All righty. Well, I will let you guys go. Glad you showed up. This is task number 1 to finishing strong, right? Like showing up for the team call. This is free personal development for you guys. And it's also just a way to see your team, and I know it's easy to kind of feel like you're alone. It's easy to feel like you're doing your own thing, but this is our one, well, I guess usually we do it twice a month. But this is like the 2 times a month that we actually get to talk as a team. For me, I look forward to these things because I get to see your faces. So I hope you get something out of this. If not, if I just blab and it makes 0 sense, then at least I hope you enjoy seeing each other and talking to each other, because that's what this is about. I'm about this going together as a team. I don't want to do this alone. And I'm just excited to see all of you that made the decision to show up tonight. So, all right, you guys, have a wonderful night and good luck for the rest of the month. All right. Bye, guys.
All right. Bye.